And I think we're live. So hello, everyone. We are live. I am Madeline Reinhardt. I am so excited to have Mattson. I don't know why I say Mattson, but Mattson on the line. She is, I've actually been watching a lot of your speeches you put on YouTube. You have so much, I think you said 20 plus years of just knowledge, collecting ancient wisdom to collecting scientific data and research with sound healing from today, and you combine them and you've created these basically what you call magic music, what I would call magic music that I listen to, and actually it helped me too, which is why I so wanted to speak with you. And it's just everything from taking sounds from the stars, taking the song of your soul to I mean, I'll let you explain, but you're just like this wisdom of what sound can do for us mentally, physically, spiritually. And I know this is what you have dedicated so much of your life focus on. So hi, everyone. Welcome, Mattson. Thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm happy to be here.
Oh, good.
Very happy.
You have such a you have very calming energy, by the way. I don't know if you get that a lot. But okay, so I wanted to start with, so that was, it's hard to, there's just so much that you encompass. So I really wanted you to go into it. I know the gist of it is, or actually let me ask you, what would you say, how would you surmise what you do? Can you help people explain what your, I guess, niche is?
Sound energy, think of it as vibrational energy, and everything's energy and everything vibrates. So sound, a malleable, soft, fluid energy that we can control easily with our voice, with our thoughts, even with our feelings. It's our window to master our energy in our worlds. And ancient people knew this. I believe they were more intuitive way back. And they used sound for growing gardens, for healing your organs, and I'm bringing these back in my CD so we can remember these lost arts, meaning your body organs, healing your health. They used it for lifting rocks. They used it for all kinds of things. And it was very clear to them because they had expanded clairvoyance and clairaudience. So if they did certain sounds, they could watch you heal your heart or your liver. And so they would use vibrations like Western world uses medicines as a great tool. But over time, over the eons, we lost our clairvoyance, we lost our clairaudience, and we became more and more invested in our physical world. And then all this great wisdom became superstitious and stupid. And so when you read antiquity, and I'm a geek of all geeks, I can read textbooks for days, for weeks, and years, and love it. Anyway, when you read them, it just sounds like, wow, these people are stupid. Until you learn what they're doing psychically, with physics, with quantum energy, with music, with psychic skills, you see, oh my gosh, look what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
that's incredible. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, in essence, what sound energy is, it's the strongest subtle energy available, meaning it's the same frequencies of thoughts, body, and soul. And they just knew, although this is little tiny packets of energy, you can absorb it until you get enough quantity to change master. Definitely the quickest way to change your personality or your thoughts. And wow, and I like this analogy. Think of the Grand Canyon, and you think the river, of course, bends to the rocks. But if you look up, you see the rock really bends to the river because of the endless applications. And that is sound.
That is so cool. So I love, so you in particular, you did not, your beginning with this was, I mean, you came from what I saw, you were, came from the very religious background, right? So initially the idea of, I guess, spirit, like what people would consider woo-woo or, sound healing, like what's that? That initially did not, it wasn't like you were like, this is my life's purpose. Like, how did that fall for you?
My son won this contest, and he got to go see Bill Gates at age 8. He was ceremoniously unimpressed, and everybody else was. So it was a big deal. And his essay that got him this, well, a free computer, which is the only reason he went, because I mean, he was 8, you know, he didn't, he just wanted to play games. And his essay was Imagine the Magic of a Computer. And he came up with an idea, since I just had a baby, of having a computer hologram to fake the baby out while he's in the playpen. So good little boys didn't have to watch their brothers while mom did the dishes.
That's wait, I'm sorry. An 8-year-old was thinking about creating a hologram for
Yes.
Whoa. Okay. All right. So that's why he won.
He got all this attention. And afterwards, I copied, I mean, gosh, what about my values? I stole my son's idea and I applied it to the Bible. I wanted to see if the whole world that we experience is like a hologram, what would God be thinking? And I decided to write a biography of God. And that's where it all happened, because I got into the Old Testament and I mean, God just had PMS and at best. And I kept covering up for him. And then I had like an epiphany, and it's like, well, to me, God is love. And I'm not accepting anything else. But meanwhile, I put a year in on this book. And I was stubborn enough to not want to just think I had to spend a whole year just to change my mind. So I looked for another Bible. And I got into the Serpentine, and then that led me to the Kabbalah, which shortly led me to the Sumerians, right back a river over to the Egyptians and onto the Chinese. And I'm searching now for God is love. I kind of shifted my focus. And I've been a musician since I've been wee big. And I would see that every big religion had a mystery school or different names, but it would be like an inner circle. And they would share extra powerful secrets, and they were usually sound and music. Not that it's better, not that it's mystic. It's just cycles per second close to that of our body, mind, soul, which means it transfers the most energy. And they were really stingy with it. And I believe that's because they believed that the misuse of sound sunk Atlantis. Now, whether that's true or not, they believed it. And
when you say that, what are you referring to specifically?
Sumerians, Egyptians, Hindus, Chinese, they all, pretty much all, are saying that if you misuse sound, it can have disastrous effects. Our government uses sound to kill. They've done it in the Pacific Ocean, testing just waves underground, and they've beached up countless whales, and their brains blew apart.
What
sound
kind of? Okay.
Is a tremendous weapon if used inappropriately, and a tremendous blessing if used appropriately. So you can see why it's secret.
Yes.
Hitler
Hitler used it. Wow. Holy cow.
So it was very, very tight-lipped, but on the other hand, they would try to attract followers. And so just like, you know, if a movie, people want us to go to their movie, they put a trailer and they put out like the best part, like come get more. So they were doing that in these mystery schools or inner circles. They'd leave out like a technique or two, kind of like, nah, we're really hot stuff. And then when I studied, you know, Rosicrucians and Theosophy and Catholic, when I study all over the globe, all these different schools, they're all throwing out a teaser. And I began to piece it all together. And I realized you can use sound for anything. And it's like the premier way to change your personality, health, and thinking to master math. Woohoo!
So when it comes to this sound, does it have to be, for it to affect you, like the whales, or even beyond that, do you have to, is it something that you have to be in proximity to or be able to hear? Or is that what, for instance, what the government was doing with the whales? Everything has a ripple effect, I'm sure, but does that I guess, does proximity matter when it comes to sound?
Yes.
And or does, okay, so does the ability to actually like hear it, interpret it?
No, because you're affected by waves that are above your hearing and below.
Yeah.
So that doesn't matter, but proximity does.
Interesting. And so with the sound, does it just weakens the farther away you are for, I guess, you know, space. Okay, so that's very interesting. So how do you know, obviously we all create noise, we hear noises every day, hear sound, hear different music. How would you know if you yourself are producing something harmful, or if you're listening to something harmful? How can people, because, you know, right away it's like, oh my God, music can kill whales. Like, how do I, you know, immediately you kind of go into, how do I protect myself? At least initially that was my thing. It's like, how do I know that I'm not being affected, or how do I know if I am? Do you know? I mean, I guess that's my question. Okay. How would you know?
The ancient people would say, as above, so below. In other words, waves, a stronger wave will overcome a lesser wave. Think of a clock shop, and you have 50 clocks and one great big grandfather, and he's going tick, tick. Everybody else has little tiny ticks. Soon, every little tick will go tick, tick, and will emulate the big vibration. So I would say, to protect yourself, you need to be radiating love and light, and watch your own negativity. Because if you're the stronger wave, when these other waves that could hurt you come into proximity, they will mock you. You will transform them. That would be your first line of defense. People think they need to do something to be important. You need to be. And that's simply love, unconditional love, and all kinds of good feelings. It's a wave, and it's extremely powerful. As far as ingesting sounds, there's two types, well, there's many types of sound healing, but you can get into sound healing for, let's say, your unique problem. Let's say you break your foot. You can go to the orthopedic surgeon now, and he'll give you a sound to make that healing fast. You can have, Sherry Edwards can hear if somebody has diabetes. And then she can also play around with sounds and give you sounds to lessen that. And that's in my Secret Sounds Ultimate Healing book. And also in my Deep Wave Body Healing, I have the ancient Atlantean tradition of mastering your organs and your innards and the tones and all the associations to start to master the control of your organs. So that's kind of generic, and some things are personal. So like if I cut my finger, I could come up with a sound to help that, but it may not be what you need. You don't have a cut finger. So in general, your body is more conscious than you're aware, far more intelligence. Science has already confirmed that it's holographic. So every part has the blueprint, at least, for everything. So let's say I needed a tone for my liver, and I'm just making this up. Okay, let's say it's the note of D. And then you play for me 3 classical symphonies, one in the key of G, one in the key of C, one in the key of D. I'll guarantee you I'm going to like the one in D. And because I'm a musician, I'll probably be bullshitting myself and telling me, oh, I like this one, the one in D. And I'll give you all these reasons why that's my preference. But I don't think that's the reason. I think the reason is I love that because my body is radiating endorphins. It makes me feel good. It lights me up. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a song that you loved and you play, and then all of a sudden you're sick of it and you're on to something else?
Yes.
You've absorbed what you need. You're now in balance. It's done its blessing, and you're on to something new.
Wow. Okay. So so when you work with developing sound for either a personal reason or someone, or for a specific person for a specific reason, what's the process of creating this sound? Does that make sense?
Well, there's so many ways to do that. Let me see. Sherry Edwards, and again, back to the Secret Sounds book, she creates like a little analog sound box that you listen to. I have some friends that get little frequencies and they deliver them through your sweat. Again, your body's holographic. And you just hold a little bar and you they'll zap you, literally, and you can absorb them that way. I've seen people do it, transmit it through your aura. So there's different ways to receive the sounds. And it's not just sounds, but it's sounds, rhythms, harmonics, which are like an after ripple. I guess it would be those three major things. And then the Atlanteans, their stuff is so cool. They would think of your voice like being a water pistol. So if my voice is a water pistol, if I'm talking at your face, you get a different dosage. Then I'm off in the corner and kind of shooting at you from an angle. You know, you get a different splatter or spray.
That would affect what the sound does. Like, so if you are, so you could have developed a healing frequency, but if you do it at a different angle, it could affect the outcome.
That was done in ancient Atlantis, and the angles that they would use would invariably be sacred geometry. And you know, I always wondered what that word meant. I like gotta have things simple. And what it is the ancient man believed that God made nature and earth and heaven. So you would tune to heaven and earth. And that's what my Paint Your Soul and Stardust CD are doing. They would look at the geometry under, let's say, the spiral in a galaxy or in a seashell. And then they would convert it to numbers and cycles per second. So their music was listening to, ingesting that which God made. They're becoming God. They're like, you know, filling up a tank. You know, I'll take a full tank of God today. And
I'll take it.
That's exactly what I'm doing in Paint Your Soul and Stardust. And if you take Carillion photography, before and after, you can watch the aura light up.
Wow, that's really cool.
And you see, today it's kind of mystical, spooky, you know, or whatever. But then it would be obvious if you were clairvoyant.
Yeah. Interesting.
Straightforward, if you can see these finer energies.
Yeah. Another interesting, you had a video out that I saw. You mentioned how, like you even said here, everything has a frequency, even diseases or cuts. And they also equate to ratios or become like a mathematical, you can find the math in it. Does that sound about right? And can you elaborate on, I guess, sound goes to math and...
Yes. Okay, back again to the Secret Sounds Ultimate Healing book. This is the source, but... well, we'll go back to Royal Rife. He was a doctor in, I think, the 40s or the 50s. He was reportedly, according to him, curing 800 out of 800 cases of cancer in the 40s. Like, whoa. What he was doing is he had a crystal lens, so he could see greater amplification than his other doctors at the time. And he looked at only live blood, never a blood sample. So if you ever seen your blood, it looks like blobs of jellyfish and they kind of breathe a little bit. So if you look at a cancer cell, with measuring how much it goes up and down, you can come up with its vibration or its cycle per second. So let's make this up. The cancer cell's 10 cycles per second. Then he would have the patient listen to 1/10 cycles per second. Waves combine. You ingest sound, know it or not. And sooner or later, he's going to cancel out the cancer. Like, if I were to play the frequency of niacin, associated with niacin, a supplement that makes your face flush, and you don't take that supplement, I play the sound, your face flushes. You absorb sound. Now, it's in tiny doses, but if you listen for any length of time, you can absorb quite a bit of quantity. Like in my Deep Wave Beauty CD, I have frequencies associated with vitamins. Why not listen to something to bless?
Yeah. Do you still listen to the radio? And if so, can you pick up, since you've been working with this for so long, can you pick up like, whoa, that's a bad frequency? Or can you pick up the intentions behind? So that's two questions. So one, do you still listen to the radio? And then two, can you pick up, are you more sensitive to the intentions behind certain sounds or songs?
Yes to both, though I have changed what I listen to.
Okay.
I tend to listen to music that emulates nature in terms of rhythmic beats, following circadian rhythms, following rhythms of animals, of patterns found in nature, and with pitches and music. So it tends to be more slow. It tends to be calming and peaceful. It tends to be joyful. I'm very careful about how it makes me feel. And yes, your feelings carry on your sound. Now listen to this. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, in no case was my message hello, and you got it. So it's not too hard to really pick up on intentions, and it is a component. So if somebody's yelling at you hateful, angry things, you're absorbing that. It's like secondhand smoke.
Interesting, interesting. So how have you personally used, can you use it on yourself? Because you create this, and this is something too, actually, I'm gonna do it a little, I guess, anecdote. So I love music as well. I mean, I am a musician. I use my voice for meditation, and it's able, I know for someone else, they're able to respond to my voice in a way that I don't respond to my voice. So for you, are you able to use your self to heal yourself, or do you need that second component, that outside component? Does that make a difference? Does that make sense? So like, I know my voice has impacted people, but I don't know if it's impacting me, or maybe it is. I'm just so used to it. I don't know. Can someone use their own music, their own whatever, to help others and themselves? And if so, how?
Okay, there's a pile of questions in there. I hope I get them all.
Sorry. I'm thinking as I'm asking, but yeah, so whatever question resonated with you from that pile.
Okay. I teach workshops on using your voice, and it's in, again, it's in that Secret Sounds book in the back. I have a little section on Ascended Master teachings, and they would actually perform what we might call a miracle, which is just simply delivering subtle energy and their consciousness and an intent on their voice. So at some point in time, it'll be science, but they would use their voice to heal. Like, imagine Jesus saying, "Be well." You know, it's not just that his intent, but they had different techniques. They would analyze all energy, and they would categorize it to something that they could identify with, like fire, air, earth, water. Now, could have been Bob's Frank, dog shoes, you know, it could have been crazy names, but they were, so it's not really air and fire and water. It's energy that makes them feel like that. For example, you'll see the Chinese and the Hindus divvying up that pie in terms of elements differently. But don't get lost in the name. They would feel the different types of energy in a person. For example, if somebody's fiery, feels different than if someone is slow. And then they would compare it to the elements. They believed that a balance is health. So if someone had too much fire and they're kind of like frenzied, you could talk to them in a very loving and lullaby kind of a voice. And your sound combines with their energy fields, and you start to calm them down and heal them right on the spot.
Yeah, I feel that. That's something I need, because I get fieries. That's amazing. Okay.
So there's many ways. There's a way to use a voice not only to calm yourself down, but to literally start to bless those whom you speak with. Now, how cool is that?
Yeah, that's really cool. That's so cool. There's so much. I know we're almost at the half-hour mark, and it's like there's so much information that you have. I guess what I would one of my last questions for you is, how would you can you talk about the CDs that you've created and the different intentions or the different things that they accomplish?
Yes. First of all, they're at Jill's Wings of Light, along with a bunch of videos, papers, free on the homepage, half-hour free music. And like if you sign up for that, there's a newsletter on how to heal with sound. And then at ℎ𝔬𝔪𝔢-𝔓𝔩music.com, brand new site, I've done some videos and demonstrated some of the ancient healing sound practices. The first CD is Paint Your Soul in Stardust. I'm using sacred geometry, patterns of earth, rhythms of earth, and star patterns and star tones and vibrations out of our hearing to just gently uplift us. It's very celestial music. I believe it brings light down your light stream. It's just very uplifting and transformative. The Healing Flower Symphonies are taken off the ancient Greeks for catharsis. Negative energy, negative emotions is an energy. It's a quantity. We amass it. That's why we get an ulcer if we worry too much. That negative energy will bore right through our tummy and create an ulcer. So the ancient Greeks used sound to get rid of that. It's so much quicker than trying to tell yourself not to worry when you're worried sick. And then I added the frequencies of flower essence, again, another ancient tradition of changing their emotional habits by simply ingesting a different positive vibration and filling up with it until it's their habit. So I have music that sounds patient, has the frequency of patience, has the frequency of the flower associated with patience, and then I throw in some cathartic release of impatience. And then I go right through in 2 CDs, Healing Flower Symphonies, Clear Your Emotional Bodies and Start Building Virtues. Really powerful. And in fact, sometimes you feel your crap going out when you listen, and that's like woohoo. You might feel like the music whoever walked by for a second, but it's a nanosecond.
Yeah.
And you got to feel it to heal it, because as it goes out, you feel it. And then I have deep wave body healing, which is the muscles in your face and neck, collagen and vitamins. So it's good for your body. It's got lower tones, and it slightly tightens and youthens. People always ask me what I'm doing, or I'm using makeup when I'm listening. And I have 3 meditations. Cosmic Streams is like a chakra balancing on steroids. It's unbelievably powerful. I don't know anything close. Then we have Contacting Angels, Masters, and Guides. I associate frequencies and illnesses and health problems and emotional problems with musical notes and colors and ascended masters and angels. Like Ghostbusters, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. It's like, you know, if you have a heart issue, it would be really good to work with Kuan Yin. Her very frequencies are your antidote. Whereas, I mean, they all can heal everything, but, you know, ℕ𝔬╗ might have actually be an antidote, his very presence, or a different illness.
Sorry, I just want to interject. You work, because you mentioned the Ascended Masters and ℕ𝔬╗. How do you work with these ascended beings? Because, and I say this because these entities obviously do exist, but when you can't see it or quite comprehend it, it's like people aren't as quickly to believe in it. So for you,
I channel them.
Yeah.
But in essence, that's what this Contacting Angels and Masters is all about, because they're energy channels. So like if you were to imagine your mother in the house or not, the house feels a little different. So it's not a skill, a special few, everybody has. So when I channel an angel or master, I can tell who's coming in because I feel them, just like I could tell if my mother's in the house or not. So what I do is I channel the angel. I have a garden, so here's the music of pink, and it is the music of pink. And then I have all the things that pink's good for.
Yeah,
and then
so
I channel
right now. Just trying to interrupt. I'm pink right now. So this thing has a sound because it's pink.
Yes, yes. And then I channel the pink masters and the pink angels. So you start to recognize them. And if you do that enough, not only do you download their energy because you interact with vibrations in close proximity, so you interact with sound, but then you start to recognize. So when you get that feeling on the tape, if you do enough repeats, then you know what, oh, I've been working with Jesus. This is what he feels like. He must be here. I feel him. So we're starting to give you those very skills to make it more real.
So
And one last,
you pick up Jesus's song. I mean, you can pick up his energy and translate it into song, and then just being in the vicinity of that, that's going to influence your vibration, your personal song, right? Yes. So ideally, I mean, in theory, reality, you absorb enough of that song, and that you can become like Jesus, or is that that's right. And then and then you want repeat. So you would take this Rainbow Garden, loop it, and listen to it at night. Incredibly powerful. You don't have to be conscious to absorb it, right?
No. And in fact, remember, it's subtle energy. You're dropping drop by drop. So put it in the background. Sleep with it. You will be absolutely amazed. On my Deep Wave Beauty, because people tend to think seeing is believing. Some lady that I didn't know at the time took my Deep Wave Beauty with the muscles and the vitamins and listened to it for like 10 days, 2 weeks. I don't know. On the site musicforbeauty.com, there's her pictures. And her before and after pictures were stunning. And it tightened the skin all over her body. So there's just throwing it on the background, not even paying attention, going about her day. And you can see the results. And it takes a lot more dosage to affect your physical body than it does your emotion and your spirit and your thoughts. So think how much more powerful listening to the thinking and feeling CDs are.
Wow, that is so cool. Yeah, God, there's so much information, but I don't want to drag it on. But that was Jill. Okay, so Jill Mattson. I'm sorry, Jill's Wings of Light. Jill's plural. ℏ𝔬𝔢𝔓𝔐𝔬𝔢 Now you also mentioned you just have a new one, ancient-music.com.
Yeah.
And okay, wow. So I guess for me, the takeaway is the big takeaway is that you mentioned love. The sound of love not only will protect you, but it transmutes everything in your presence.
Yes.
So if you can embody. And I'm hoping you have like a song of love or a CD of love, or how does, do you have something?
I usually pray and feel all those positive emotions, and I put them on silent tracks in all of my CDs. And I also channel angels silently because their energy records. It's always on all of my CDs. They're full of silent blessings.
Yeah.
And here's another thing. One thing they did in the Kabbalah tradition was they would practice saying the alphabet with love. So like, instead of saying A, it's A. And they would just repeat it until they were probably ready to shoot themselves. And then the habit of saying every sound with love.
Wow. So that's like your personal song. So everything you say, every interaction, everything, even you think, if you say or sing it with love, that becomes your song.
Right, and you need to make that a habit, so you do it without thinking. And it doesn't take that much. I mean, like particularly listening to music gets you there so much faster.
I agree. Yeah, I do. It's like it's like almost instant actually with music. That is so cool. Oh my gosh, Jill, it was so awesome. Do you have any last, I guess, tips or advice or anything upcoming that you want to mention?
Well, on my website, I have a lot of meditations, a lot of videos. I have my schedule, so I do, I don't know, 2 or 3 radio shows a week. I do probably 8 or 9 workshops in the fall, and I will continue to do workshops. And if you go to Jill's Wings of Light and sign up for my free half-hour music, there will be emails also announcing my schedule. I'd love to see you at a workshop to help train, to learn to do this, to listen on the radios, whatever trips your trigger.
And you have a Pandora station now, don't you? I thought I read that.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Yes, I do. Pandora.
Oh, that is so cool. So ideally, if you just want to tune into love, or tune into angels, or tune into zinc, or tune into niacin, you could just go to Jill Mattson. Why is that so hard? Pandora, and then you get a dose of whatever.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Wow. Okay. Very cool. Jill, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. And
thank you.
Yeah, I think for me, everyone just sing a song of love and check out Jill's wingsoflight.com. And until then, I guess I'll see you guys later.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye, Miss Jill.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.